You are now tuned into the sounds of
Big Nate Sports Talk.
It's on all the time, anytime.
Take it away, feeling too good to me. Chilling all day, all in your space is where I wanna be. Here in this room, what did you do? I just can't get enough. Too caught up in your love. I've been trying to forget, but you won't let me. Something in my brain wants you. I've been hanging by myself, asking for help, but nothing seems to work on you. Yeah, you always make me feel like home. Yeah, you never leave my thoughts alone. Yeah, you're the reason I'm going out my mind. I just can't stop thinking about you.
Tuned in to Big Nate Sports Talk, the show that is on all the time, anytime. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your host, Nathan Snell.
And as always, thank you, Mr. Anthony Handy. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is your host, Nathan Snell of Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast. This is episode 478 of the podcast. This episode is about Maryland women's basketball as we are getting ready to play the Princeton Tigers. But before we get into that, there's a few things I want to say up front. The Washington Commanders are playing this morning in Spain. Last time I checked, they are tied with the Miami Dolphins. The Ravens play later on today against the Cleveland Browns. Maryland football. That's a whole other conversation for another day. Maryland men's basketball won yesterday, so you're going to see some recaps this week. So stay tuned in for that. Please continue to like, comment, and subscribe for our future content for the podcast on this channel. You can find all the links in the description below. Thank you for the support you're giving me. This episode, we're going to do a couple things. We're going to recap the win against Towson and preview the game against Princeton today. But also, too, there's a couple things I wanted to also recap as well. UMBC and Georgetown, there's a couple observations I've seen so far the first 4 games going into our 5th game. I'm pretty confident. Good morning. So let's really get into it. So far this year for the Maryland women's basketball team, we're 4-0. And we're in our non-conference schedule, which is to be expected. Most teams are playing their non-conference opponents. And so far, I'm seeing a little bit of everything. I'm seeing, example, Sailor Poffenbarger's shooting has improved. Still have to work on limiting the turnovers. Still have to work on the ball movement having to be better. Our freshmen are really gaining experience early. Addie Mack, Leah Bartelme, who we'll be getting to in a little bit, Rainey Wilson, so forth. Kendall Walker, who redshirted last year, now considered a redshirt freshman. Seeing players get valuable minutes and doing those little things like that. For example, in the win against Georgetown, I disagree. Going into half, they were the better team. I believe they had the momentum, because for a team that, in my opinion, that says that they were the better rebounding team, I did not see that. If you're the better team, a team should be at least beating you by double digits. That's just how I see it. Thank you. I appreciate that. Much to you. Thank you. So I just want to get that off my chest. And then in the second half, Georgetown didn't have any response, especially once we put that 4-court press on them, which I call it the Brenda special. And keep in mind, the first few games, we've scored 80-plus points without Bree McDaniel and Kayleen Smichael. So those are one things I'll take so far positively that I've seen from the Maryland women's basketball team. And that's something that really can't be ignored. Now, in the win against Towson, because we were going against a Towson team led by Coach Laura Harper, former Maryland women's basketball alumni, who was also part of that 2006 national championship team. She really went in the portal this past offseason and retooled her roster. Her guard play is exceptional. I really expect them to do something this year in the CAA because they finished 12-20 last year, but they won 8 games in their conference. So um, she ran. I'm not a fan of when you run a 3-guard lineup, because when you run a 3-guard lineup, you really take the risk of not having not having rebounding, and that showed from the jump. They have shooters in the lineup for sure, but from the jump, it looked good for us. And unfortunately, Kayleen did come back. She looked good in her return. I do expect Brenda Fries did say that she is on a minutes restriction, so it was good to see that. But unfortunately, we did lose Leah Bartolome for the rest of the season. Early this morning, it was announced that she tore her ACL and she is done for this year. Who she was in the starting lineup and was having a promising start. So prayers up for her as she is has wishing her a safe and speedy recovery. Good morning to you. Good morning. Prayers up to Leah. So Addie Mack, I expect for her to get more minutes. Kendall Walker, Rainey as well. Ava McKinney, I expect more in there because Bree McDaniel's still not cleared to play. But I'm curious to see how the rotations and lineups will look as we progress so far. One thing I'm really liking about the team so far is our ball movement. I looked at the stats. We're averaging almost 20 plus assists, 20 assists or more a game. And that was more than what I think it was like 7 or 8 more assists compared to last year. So we're not afraid to make the extra pass. But that's one thing that has stood out to me so far watching this Maryland women's basketball team. But it's also to like our front court depth. I really think Isame Azimamadou should be in the conversation for an all Big Ten team. I really think she should be in the starting lineup. I think Mara Bayako, I think she will adjust as the season progresses. I just think the pace, and I just think adjusting all that, I think she'll get better. Jordan, I'm not concerned. I feel like the first 3 games, there were some people that were kind of panicking. I'm not really worried about that. A shooter will find their touch as the season progresses. So just give it time, and she'll be fine. So when you look at it from that perspective, outside of the Towson game, I kind of felt like after the second half, once Leah went down with her injury, I mean, I'm not going to say mentally they checked out, but I will say they to take your foot off the gas in with a 28-point lead at half, and you won by 10. Some of it, again, we were not disciplined with the ball, sloppy passes, lack of communication on both sides of the ball. And again, credit Coach Harper and their defense and their guard play on both sides of the ball. Because India Johnson and I can't remember the guard, Shepard, now have 40-something points combined. Credit that. So like those are things that they'll get better with as time progresses. So I'm not overly concerned right now, but could they had played better? Sure. But once Leah went down with her injury, you kind of had to figure out, again, Coach Fries is still figuring out the lineups, and she even said it in her weekly presser before the Towson game. You know, it's a team that's still learning each other, and the chemistry still being there. So you kind of have to give this team some time. So, we really won't really see the true identity of this team and really the cohesion of this team to about maybe 10, 12 games to the season, in my opinion. So, other than that, I really impressed so far with what I'm seeing so far from this team. But other than that, it was looking good so far the first 4 games. Uh, we positive other takeaways. My notes here: we turned the ball over 12 times. Um, I mean, again, I think still also there still lineup experiments. For example, uh, that pretty much that fourth quarter, she had Addie, Kendall, Ava. Um, who was it? Can't remember the front court now. I think it was Myra. I want to say it was Izzy. I could be wrong, but that was the backcourt. That was an interesting lineup. But there was no outside of Addie. There was no other shooter in that lineup. So again, it's all experiments with knowing what kind of lineup works or what doesn't work. But outside of that, that's one thing I could possibly take away from. They had a good solid first half. So, um, but yeah, we got to be able to be better. But I can't really defend giving up 70 points as a team. We got to be better than that, and I think we will clean that up. So let me take a quick break and get you prepared against the Princeton Tigers, who we will be playing in under an hour. Be right back. We got the Princeton Tigers, and this should be an interesting matchup. Um, uh, Princeton, we've only played 2 games so far this year, and we've played 4. Princeton, for the most part, has returned all their starters from last year. They won 21 games last year. Um, Coach Carla, it's her 7th season coaching the Tigers and got them to 4 consecutive NCAA tournament appearances. Um, and they won 4 Ivy League championships, if I remember correctly. AJ, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Princeton is a really, really damn good team. Majority of their roster, for example, Ashley, Chea, Sky, Belker, unbelievable. Like their guards can shoot the ball. Last year, if I remember correctly, got those from the stats. They shot over 40% from the field and almost over 30% from 3. I think that is something I'm going to watch for sure as we take on the Tigers today. I'm curious to see how lineup-wise we will look against them. I don't expect us to go big. I kind of expect us to go smaller-ish, but I do expect the same lineup. The only thing is, with Nalia out, it's gonna be interesting to see how the starting lineup will look for right now, because I mean the first 2 games watching them play, they didn't really look good for Princeton, shooting under 40%, under 25%. Biggest also 2 weaknesses: they're not the best team with handling the rock. Last year, if I remember correctly, they turned the ball over at least 15 times a game. So it's interesting to see how we will look against them. We are really good so far at forcing turnovers. Again, we are really a team that likes to force turnovers to push the pace. Defense is what starts the momentum for us and get it going, and that's how we get the game going for the Terrapins. I'm curious to see how we will look against Princeton. Listen, anytime you play an Ivy League team like Princeton, especially like them, I feel like this is, you got to kind of set the tone. Again, still a work in progress. I think there's a lot you can possibly build from this Maryland team for sure. But biggest thing, we got to keep the turnovers down, the ball movement. Starts on the defensive side first. We got to keep the foul trouble down. And again, that the depth of the guard play is fine now. I think we'll be fine down the stretch with Bree McDaniel still not cleared to play. Kayleen's on the minimum restriction. Mia McLean did come back after missing a game with her shoulder injury. So I'm just curious to see how we'll manage those minutes of Leah's and how enough we're going to be spreading them out or we're going to be putting individually. So we might see Addie get more minutes. We might see Kendall get more minutes. Ava. It's going to be interesting to see how that all will work itself out. But again, this will be the 5th game at home for the Lady Terrapins. So keep that in mind. It's also on the Big Ten Network. If you have the Big Ten Plus on your phone, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you download it. If not, ask a friend. So keep that in mind. Outside of that, this should be a good game, but I'm going to pick the University of Maryland to beat the Princeton Tigers. I'm going to give a score. I'm going to say 83. I'm going to say 83-65.
Guaranteed.
Those are my keys. Defense, limit the turnovers on the offensive side of the ball. Our guard play is going to be the key in this game. Alucci, for sure, Saylor, and Yarden. Those are the keys because with now Leah out, I know the 3 of them are going to carry it, are going to do big things for us. But I'm curious to see how, especially, they will look in this game. But our front court, they'll definitely hold the fort down because they don't really have size for Princeton because they only have 3 players that are tall this season, and yeah, Maryland definitely can out ranks them in terms of size in the front court. But other than that, Maryland should be fine. I'm not concerned. But other than that, go Terrapins. But that's going to do it for this episode of Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast. Please stay safe, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy the rest of the Sunday. Go watch football, college basketball, do something fun, and enjoy the rest of the day. Until then, please like, comment, and subscribe for all future content on the podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you later. Peace. Stay up.
Thank you for tuning in to Big Nate Sports Talk. If you enjoyed that episode and you want to see more content, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
And I want to thank you. All I want to do is say thank you.